One of the most discreet pitfalls on the path is when we stop seeking too soon. And the reason for this is because we need to basically know when the right time is to stop seeking. Because if we don't know that, then what's going to happen is we either stop seeking too soon and we essentially go through a phase of thinking there's no seeking to be done when there is, it's just in another way, but I'm going to explain that in a minute, and thinking that there's no seeking to be done, which eventually is true. But if we misunderstand what that means and we misunderstand our experience when we seem to take that step, we fall into a very long pitfall. That pitfall creates a lot more suffering. Some people even start teaching in that phase, and they haven't actually fully integrated anything yet. And they haven't got to a part of their life where they can actually start to integrate it, because there's basically this really, really, really discreet, under the radar resistance, which comes from the non-dual traditions. And I'll explain that in a minute as well. And what that does is basically makes us perpetuate a very subtle resistance that we don't even notice. And this subtle resistance is almost like neutral, like feeling neutral, like basically you'll know when you're unconditionally happy when the happiness you feel is an existential zest. It's not just a zest for life. It's not just this peaceful, bland, neutral, like emptiness or feeling. It's not like that. It actually has a richness to it. It has a quality to it which allows you to actually fully enjoy all other emotions. So basically what we will typically find when we stop seeking is, and then think we're kind of done with seeking, is that we lose ourselves in this emptiness and this peace, which really is just this blank state. And this blank state is something we have to look out for. Basically, it's going to close our heart. Our heart will be subtly closed. We'll think we're just like stoic and unconditionally peaceful, and we don't feel. It's actually, your heart is closed and you're not actually feeling the spectrum of human emotion. And this actually prevents the zest of life from coming through, this existential zest. And that's exactly what happiness really is. It's an existential zest. That does not mean that you have this feeling of happiness all the time, because that feeling is not what happiness depends on. But it does, however, mean that you actually enjoy the richness of whatever's taking place. When you have this subtle, I finished seeking, nothing more to do, realization, it's a massive pitfall. What you'll find is that you will start seeking. You'll seek very, very subtly. Imagine your seeking used to be like, I'm going to do this now and do this. Now it's like, I am not seeking. And then it's like this really long stretched out seekingness and seeking energy. It's like you're tearing the seeking energy apart really slowly. Instead of just doing the thing, you're like doing it really subtly and like so discreetly that you don't notice it. It goes under the radar of your mind. So this is extremely important to realize. Now, coming back to what I said earlier, how do you know when to stop seeking? Well, seeking has to come, you have to come to a realization of the truth. So when I say realization of the truth, you basically have to, seeking only ends. You don't just stop seeking and that's it. Then you're happy, unconditionally, never happens. So if you've come to a realization where you've stopped seeking and now I'm fine and everything's perfect, you're lying to yourself, basically. There's no such thing as, I was seeking, then I stopped, and then I was unconditionally happy. It doesn't work like that. The only real end of seeking isn't actually an end of seeking. It's an end of seeking happiness in the world. So once we say, there's no more seeking anymore, what we're basically saying is, there's no more seeking anymore for happiness in the world. That seeking energy, all you've done is just gone from lower vibrational chakra seeking to mid-heart chakra seeking. I use this as an analogy because the energy is actually like that. When we're seeking in the world, we're seeking via the lower vibrational chakras, so to speak, through our power, control, desire, things like that. Then we get to the heart chakra, and that's when we're in this, supposed to be in this openness, but some people fall back down again and they don't realize it. We come to this realization of desire for truth. Genuine desire for truth. So when we think we finished seeking and that's the end of the story, we've made a pitfall. Once we realize that actually what we're looking for is truth and we are looking for happiness, Happiness is a legitimate thing to search for. The only thing is, the problem was that we were searching for truth and happiness in the world. We were looking for things in the world as an object to take happiness from, whether that was a book, a teacher, a teaching, a practice, a car, relationship, whatever it might have been, spiritual crystals. Everything that you were doing when you were seeking was kind of in the right direction. It was kind of with the right intention, but with the wrong intention. It's basically looking for happiness is okay, but looking for happiness in the world is the issue. And what we were doing before was looking for happiness in the world. So when we have a realization there's no more happiness in the world, there's nothing to search for, there is a relief. There is a relief to that. But doesn't mean it's the end of the path. That's not going to solidify and help you ground yourself in truth. So now what has to happen is this desire for truth. So once the end of seeking when the end of seeking starts, the journey actually begins. What you thought was this I finally finished seeking, is actually the start of your exploration of truth. Your exploration of truth is actually where the progress happens, if we were to give a human term for it. If there's any progress, it's not when you were seeking, it's actually when you stopped seeking. Now you're actually in an openness, or you're supposed to be, if you've really come to this realization, where you desire truth. And this desire for truth, now you can actually interpret and understand any type of understanding that's being shared. Because any desire in the direction of trying to remove our suffering which is the same as any desire to find happiness in the world, you're not susceptible to understanding. You will not understand when you are seeking to remove your suffering with the thing that you're trying to understand. So basically, if someone's listening to me now, some people will listen to this and they'll be trying to get happiness from it, so they won't understand what I'm saying. It'll just go in one ear and out the other. If they're trying to find happiness, if they're trying to remove suffering by listening to this video, it's going to go in one ear and out the other. If they're listening to it in openness and a genuine curiosity and desire for truth, they will understand what I'm saying. And from that point of view is where you have to be for the next part of the journey, which is why, if you understand what I'm saying right now, the end of seeking has actually happened, but it's not like we end seeking altogether. We just have a desire for truth. It converts. It doesn't end, it converts, because there is a necessity to desire truth. There is a necessity to desire happiness. It's natural. We can't choose to desire happiness or not. It is the nature of the mind. If we are not experiencing our true nature, the natural thing for the mind to do will be to go in the direction of happiness. Now, when you used to think happiness was in the world, that is where you would go. But now this desire for truth, it's like a sophisticated understanding, which now takes you into your being. It goes in the actual direction of happiness, or at least closer to it. And this pure desire for truth, it's like going up in the chakras. You're doing it out of love, passion, curiosity, wonder, and eventually devotion. This is where devotion takes place, absolute devotion to the truth. That means that radical self-honesty, you're no longer lying to yourself, and you're receptive to truth. This is what we hear in all the Indian traditions. What do they mean by these chakras? Like, what is the practical thing that they mean? You've got throat chakra, you've got the third eye chakra, the crown chakra. What do they actually mean? This is exactly what they mean. In practical terms, in human language, this is what they're pointing to, is your openness to be receptive to truth and understanding. When you're down here, you can't feel that because you're just trying to do things to remove suffering. So when you end seeking, you're here. You're basically halfway. You're not finished. You now have a desire for truth, an interest in truth, like a genuine scientist or a philosopher who's actually doing things just out of the curiosity of their heart and not in this desire to kind of end their suffering. So how do we know when to stop seeking? You'll never come to that place. You'll never come to a place where you, in the moment, go, I've finished seeking. This is the thing to see. So if you say to me, Saja, I'm no longer seeking. This is what people say in my community. I know it's a load of nonsense. There's an understanding to be had here, and this is something extremely important to realize. Because what happens is, your seeking doesn't end. It converts to an interest and curiosity in the truth. If it doesn't come to that place, then you're basically still seeking and you're lying to yourself. That desire and curiosity and truth makes you receptive to understanding, and that is where wisdom is found. That is where true wisdom is found. This is how you are able to then integrate the truth through your own wisdom. There's no wisdom in thinking you're done with the path. Think about it. What energy is that? I'm done. I'm complete. This is no more. How could that be possible? It's borderline arrogance to think that. So this desire and curiosity for truth replaces it, and that's when you start actually going through understanding. And that process of understanding is exactly what is going to bring you to unconditional happiness, because it's the only way to get there. You can only get there through openness and understanding, and through actually devotion to the truth. And eventually the devotion empties itself. The devotion is the devotion that is going inwards is like complete, and the devotion transforms into embodiment. You are the embodiment. Your natural expression is your devotion, the devotion to life. And this is where this existential zest comes in. Like it has richness to it. It's not empty. You're not dull. Your happiness is like, the only way I can describe it is an existential zest. It's a zest for life. It's better than a zest for life. It's more integrated. It's more genuine, and you move in that direction, and everything becomes an expression of that through understanding the truth. Why understanding? Because understanding is the thing that's going to give context to your realizations or your experiences. If an experience was enough, everybody could watch a movie and become internally free. But that doesn't happen. Why is that? Because the movie doesn't have context. So an enlightening experience on LSD, a psychedelic, or when you're walking down the park, or when you've done whatever you've done, or whatever has happened, is nothing. It means nothing without context. Context is met through understanding. Understanding is not something that happens in the mind. We think understanding is something that happens in the mind because we use the term wrong. True understanding is the removal of knowledge. We might take a path with the mind, but it's like saying understand that calculators understand the equation. Calculators just give you the equation. You understand the equation. The calculator doesn't. In the same way, the mind doesn't understand. You understand as pure consciousness. And that understanding removes the knowledge. And that's when knowledge is removed, basically when things, memory, thought, conditioning is removed, that is how you integrate your understanding and anything that you understand beyond that point. So it's a self-fulfilling process in that devotion, or in the early stages, that interest in truth for the sake of truth, not for the sake of removing your suffering. So this is why this openness is so important to move in direction of, and to not think I'm done, I'm not seeking anymore, this isn't the end, because you are still seeking if you're saying that. And what you're seeking is to subtly remove your suffering by coming to a realization and thinking the realization was the last one you've ever going to have. So be radically honest with yourself. Convert the seeking energy not into ending your seeking, but to converting your seeking into something that is pure. The desire for truth purifies everything that you do in that direction, which is why that is so important. I have a community, the link is in the description. I pour my heart and soul into it. I'd love to have you there. We do meditations and Q&As every single week. If you'd like to be there, I'd love to have you. I will see you soon. Have an amazing day. Take care, guys.